let's get started. So last year, Jaden comes back and he says, "I need to use Google Classroom," and I had none of us knew how to use it, so we just kind of clicked buttons and mashed it randomly and figured it out. And we hear a lot of stories from other parents that it's just kind of hard to, it's kind of intimidating to get in there and say, well, what's all of this Google stuff? So we're just going to go through what Google provides for the students, teachers, and parents, and how to take advantage of it the best we can to improve the education of the children. So I prepared some slides for this. So one thing I wanted to talk about first was, okay, Google. What's Google? It's in the cloud. So not everybody knows what it means to be in the cloud. So what does that mean? If you're in the cloud, you can think about it like this. When I click the save button, it's not saving to just your computer. It's going out there to some other computer, and it's there forever. So I don't know, some people have a little hard time understanding what that means, but basically that means you can go to some other computer and do exactly the same thing, and your stuff should still be there. You don't need to send it to yourself in an email or put it on a stick, plug it in and go grab it and not have your application there. So long as if there's a common thing that's across all computers, which we call web browsers, you're good. So, which we're going to get into, so the different types of web browsers you're going to want to use. So your stuff is on someone else's computer owned by Google if you're using this. So you have to be comfortable with that. So what's good about it, you can access it anywhere. All of the updates are done by Google. You don't have to go and click a button and say, I need to get up to date. And the sharing is in one source. So I don't know if you've ever worked with documents before where you're writing something and you have one version here and then you send it to yourself later and work on another version. It's all on the same spot. So, but what's bad about it is you're giving up some of your privacy and ownership. You have to trust them. But they're pretty trustworthy, so there's no big deal with that. And you need to be online most of the time to use it. A lot of the cloud features are moving to a spot where you can do some of your stuff online, particularly with your phone. So that's less of a problem these days. And it will use your online data use and you get performance. So you can get better performance if you're using, for example, Microsoft Word or Office to do Word documents or PowerPoint as opposed to Google. I didn't talk too much about the format of this presentation. If anybody wants to mention anything, to say have any questions or anything, just go ahead and post a question. I will periodically poke into here and see if anybody has anything. Otherwise, we'll just keep going. So Google. So OCDSB has an agreement with Google to set it up so that they can host a service through Google so that you can log in through OCDSB and have all of the features that Google provides specific just for the school. So they also do some filtering, which we're going to talk about, that's going to affect some of the work that you do. So Google, you have an account. It's an email. It's some name at gmail.com, but for your kid, it's going to be their last name with a number, probably at ocdsb.ca. So what you'll want to do is your child will have a to get to your account is the button in the top right hand corner on any web browser. I'm using Chrome here. It works best with Google, so use that as opposed to say Internet Explorer. As a little trick, a lot of people on their computer have one login, so you don't switch between users on your Windows PC at home. If you do that, I recommend dedicating one particular browser just for your kid. There's Firefox, Chrome, and Internet Explorer. There's also, and if you're on a Mac, you've got Safari. But if you just set that browser up just for your kid, then whenever they open up that browser, you don't need to switch accounts anymore. You don't need to worry about that stuff. That's just a trick. Otherwise, you got to get used to the idea of switching around here. Or what you could do is set up multiple. If you use Windows at home, you can set up multiple accounts so that you log out and log back in, and everything's specific for your child. If you want to, I'll show something after this presentation how to do that. If we want to get into detail. So you sign out, you just go over here and you sign in. There's your button, and you would put in your user account here, given to you by the school, and the password. Simple enough.
So using multiple accounts on Windows, like when they open the browser, it's just their browser data.
That's right. So if you have a separate Windows account, you can log out, say, as mom, and log in as your daughter or your son, and all of their bookmarks, all of their account settings, their passwords, it's theirs. And then you could also take advantage of the privileges so that you can prevent them from, it could be like a limited account so that they can't install stuff where yours can. And we could take a look at that. But the scope of this was specifically for Google. But I want, at the end of this presentation, I'm going to open up questions to just life hacks for your computer, okay? So if we got the time. So I'm just going to log in. So I've got all these accounts here. There are some password managers in Chrome, which is very useful. You might want to use that. Particularly, one of the neat things with this that I like about it is that if you just so happen to have a virus on your computer that's taking keystroke logging, that's actually figuring out what you're typing, if you do this, they don't know what you're typing. So that's a neat thing. It's probably useful for your bank too. So try to use Chrome and then use the autocomplete. That way, if they do have a keyboard logger, they don't see you type it and they can't figure out what it is. But that's just another life hack. So I was not using this. I was using that. So logging in, logging out, and switching. I showed you that. So browsers, a little quick chat about browsers. So Chrome works best with Google. Internet Explorer is not very good. Firefox is good, and there's a portable version of it as well. So you can actually put it on your USB key and run it right off there. And I'm not so much of a Mac guy, so I kind of test too much of Safari. And all of the things that you see here work with your phone as well. You get Chrome on your phone, works really well. You can get it for iOS, which is your Mac, your Apple phone, or your Android phone. People still use Windows phones. Okay, so mobile apps. So what is it? So I thought this would probably be clear, but I didn't actually mention that. How do you get to Google? It's www.google.ca, just in case. I know the level of people who are going to be. Everyone's at their own level, right? So you type that into your browser. So you start up Internet Explorer, Chrome, or Firefox, or whichever one you're using, and type www.google.ca. So that's Google, but this isn't Google Classroom. Google is a service that has a whole bunch of what they call apps, and they're just features that Google provides to make your life easier. So we're going to go into a couple of them. So once you log into Google through your browser, it remembers that you were there, and the next time you go there, it's still going to be you. So if there's multiple people using your account at home, you don't want people messing around with your stuff, log out. I'm sure the kids at school must do this all the time, and people hack their accounts all the time. No, who wrote that comment in my whatever? You always got to log out, and then yeah. So some of the apps that are useful that are going to be useful for school are Gmail. So your child will have an @ocdsb.ca email account that I believe goes out to the real world as well, or is it just internal, right?
Like you can't, I know I can't send stuff to my daughter from my personal Gmail. I can
Yeah.
but not, at least not to my daughter.
Right. So for the younger kids, then for sure, they're at ocdsb.ca. I know they can email each other within the school, but outside they probably can't. So you need to ask yourself whether or not you want to allow your child to have their own personal Google account. On the writing on the wall says that you shouldn't, but we're all free people here. You can choose to do what you want.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's changed, but my older daughter, when she was under 14, closed down her email account.
Because they found out she was
Because I put in her regular age, and it allowed it at one point, and then it got rid of it later on.
Right. So it's up to you. I have Gmail accounts for my kids, so they never use it. I just use it to get them in for passwords and stuff, to manage their passwords. But so Gmail is a place where you can send email back and forth, obviously. But again, ocdsb.ca, it does not go out right now. So you can't email your child through that, but they can email each other. So I don't know how. Is it helicopter parenting? If you want to keep track of your kid, maybe see what they're sending to each other. I don't know. Okay, Google Drive. What's Google Drive? What happens when you the save button. It gets stored somewhere. Google Drive is your hard drive in the cloud. So that means you can save stuff to the cloud and get to it later on another computer. So I'm not going to go into too much detail on what a file means, but it's basically like your PDF, your documents, your slides, your photos. These are all files, and they are all stored on Drive. All of the other apps integrate with Drive directly. As you use the other apps, the stuff show up on your Drive. For example, Docs. If you were to go into Google Docs and make a document, you can, and then later on go to Drive, you can then find your documents in your Drive. Docs let you write documents, and your child will likely be using this to write the various things that your teacher asks of them, and can submit to Google Classroom from that app. Similarly, any of the other I think Docs, Slides, and Drawing are the only ones that you can submit with. We'll get to that when we get to Google Classroom. So Slides, you're looking at Google Slides right now. I used it to make this quick and dirty slide deck. Google Sheets is going to be something you're going to get into when you're later on in school, in the older years, because that's a lot of maths. Drawing, I think that's implicit. And then YouTube. So I want to talk a little bit about YouTube because of something that happened to us last year, where sometimes your teacher will say, here's a good video to watch because there's lots of learnings that you can do from it. However, if they're logged in with their OCDSB.ca, it might be blocked because of somebody messed up somewhere. Oops. So that's where you could switch or log out and either switch your account to a public one or log out and then access it. Is the trick you can do for that. Just going to switch over here to make sure nobody's asking any questions on the Facebook. Nope. So that's the one I wanted to be specific to that, is that if you are blocked by looking at a particular, so as your child is logged in through the OCDSB, as they search while they're logged in with Google, their search results will be filtered, and some of those things which are filtered are some YouTube content. Google Classroom. So there are some access restrictions to this. So for example, if you have a personal account through Gmail and you want to look at, so let me start from the beginning. Google Classroom. It's a place where your teacher has the ability to, the agenda. It's the agenda. It's the replacement for your agenda. So all of your homework that's due is going to show up on there. You can talk to all of the members of your classroom. The list of all of your peers are on there. You can contact your teacher directly. You can get your grades, submit your homework this way. I don't think grades are there.
Grades are in there, but that's to the teacher's discretion.
But that's to the yes. Right. So that's what Google Classroom is. So when you, to get to it, it's classroomduke.google.com, which I will get to. So if you go to classroom.google.com and you're logged in with your OCDSB account, the list of all your classes which you were signed up with will show up here. However, when you first do it, if this is the first time you've ever done it, you got to click this button to join a class. Your teacher should have given you a code. Type the code in there. You click join. And that should do it.
Now, you have to specify that it has to be, you have to be logged into your child has to be logged into their email and not you, right?
That's
like
right. This is the big kicker that burns a lot of people, is that you have to log in with your child's at ocdsb.ca account through Google. And then you can do this, because not anybody can just go and join this classroom. The list of students who have privileges to see this stuff is prescribed by the teacher in the school, so that's why.
So what happens is when you create a Google Classroom, you input all the students' names and their email, and then so it's only specific to, like, it'll recognize when it's logged in to the students' email, and then it'll allow them access. Because not if it were anyone, they would just, and they obtain the codes and all, they could just enter.
Yeah, that's creepy.
Yeah.
So, so now we have to talk about, okay, well, that means you need to get access to your child's ocdsb.ca email and password. So you have to be in a comfortable enough relationship, I suppose, with your child to say, like, look, I'm gonna, obviously you should, but yeah, that's the thing. So there's no, like, here's your parent account and I'm going to monitor some stuff and only certain stuff. That's not a thing in this. It's like you're your kid. So if you do this and you want to check, say, hey, did they do their homework? Are they saying things to their peers or something like that? Because I don't know, that's what I would do with my kid.
Yeah.
I would, you're them, so you could technically type stuff and
That's a good point that you bring up also, is that they are permitted to have online discussions, but it's monitored through by the teacher. And every time a child posts something online, it's emailed to the teacher, so you can monitor if there's some nonsense going on. And then you can actually, if there is nonsense, you can delete the comment. The teacher has the ability to delete the comment and mute the child. That's what they call
filtered
it.
by
Mute.
teacher.
Yeah,
I love it.
So there's no possibility of like,
Social
the
bullying.
cyberbullying. I know it's a big thing now, so it's very closely monitored.
Right.
It used to be just just play. Now it's
Yeah. So once you're logged in and you've added your classroom, and you can have more than one classroom because you could have more than one teacher. So each teacher has their own classroom. So for example, if you have a math teacher who's doing the math stuff and a English teacher doing the English stuff, each with their own curriculum, you would have more than one of these tabs with your teacher name there. So tell your kid to have fun, give themselves a fun little profile. Jaden picked Ashawat. So then once you're here, you go and you can get the list of all of your calendars from all of your classes and get to all of your to-dos, and then your list of classes would show up here. This is a handy place to go. But I'm going to go into specifically Jaden's classroom.
There's a lot of confusion. No, sorry, in that box. Yeah, there's a lot of confusion where people start clicking on the box, but the box itself, you have to click on the title of the book or bio.
This is oh my god.
Yeah.
So I am clicking in here and it does nothing. You got to click on there. Good one. So you can. We're gonna get to that later. So I just want to show this is going into your class. So what sorts of things did I want to talk about finding your class? So we talked about finding your class, talked about classes, topics, and comments. So we're going to go through, we've showed how to find your class, a list of your classes, and now the topics. So your teacher will organize the various topics here. So if you want to, and we'll post things that would typically go into your agenda on this feed. And it's sorted by the last time it was modified, if I remember. So the most recent stuff show up on the top, I think.
Not with.
I remember reading something. No, you can change the order, can you?
Well, you can change, so you can't, a teacher can bring something to the top.
Yes, that's what I remember
But
reading.
even if I go to edit something from, let's say, last week, it won't come to the top.
Yeah.
It'll stay at the bottom.
You have to explicitly say.
Yeah, I have to move
Okay.
it to the top, but it stays
Good to know.
according to the.
I remember reading something. I don't use it from the teacher's view. Sarah does. So thanks for that, Sarah. Your teacher will prioritize the things that show up on here. So your child could comment on here, and you can get to. So the teacher will be tagging the topic, as you can see here. This is the topic of the one. Here's a more complicated one, where it actually has some attachments. These are pointing to a location on Google Drive shared by you, right? So there's one copy of this PDF that's shared with all of the kids.
That's one option.
That's one option, yeah. And then your child can actually submit. Well, we're going to get to that in a minute. I'm getting ahead of myself here. So I want to talk about topics and comments. So we looked at comments. So as examples of comments, what do they look like? So you can see Owen here. The closest I could find is this is Owen.
So there's 4 comments right up top. And go back.
Oh yeah. So if when you're looking at comments, be sure to check this because it collapses the ones.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sarah. So topics, comments. I was unable to find a place to say show me all my comments. I thought that would have been a useful feature. But it's not a thing, so don't look for it. I tried. And if you're ever stuck and you just want to read a lot of boring stuff, there's this. So.
Side here, as the year progresses and there's a lot of announcements and assignments posted, it gets tedious to scroll down through everything. So you can just, if you go on the side onto the topics and click under like class set, and then that'll sort out all the posts from class set. And then it should be again to the teacher's discretion how they're organizing it.
So your teacher will tag the topics, or will tag the content with a topic, and you can filter by those. Yeah. Okay. So your work. Let's see if I can go to. So once I clicked on that topic, if I want to go back to the beginning, use your back button. It's there. Don't think this you're going to be using the 2D thing so much.
I haven't. It's a new feature this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I haven't installed it. I'll probably use it within the classroom or to number what they should do during homework or for homework.
So here is the list of all of the things that the teacher said is due coming up at some point in time. These do not have due dates yet, but this one does. As an example, the due date will show up there. So let's say, and here's a perfect example. So Jaden actually did his homework.
So that was the other thing where the documents that are posted on that are from my drive, and again to the teacher's discussion, they can either have a master copy where they can view it, or they can all edit the same copy so they can see, like everyone's working on the same copy at the same time. Or there's a feature where there's a document in your drive and the teacher can make a copy for every student so that every student has their own unique copy and can edit it and no one else can edit it. It's like it's a very personal, like it's a sheet of paper except it's on.
So this shows an example of that. So Jaden was working on his homework and he uploaded his own personal version of this document which has his answers to this particular assignment, and he added it. So this is where I was saying where you can integrate Google Classroom to those other apps, docs, slides, sheets, and drawings. So you can create a new doc and submit it as this homework. You know, click it as an example. It's going to be Jaden's assignment. Okay. So we create a doc, and that should create a new doc in his drive. With when you open it, it's the doc app, and you can go and click on that and say, "This is an example submission for Google Docs." We can go into more detail on each of these apps specifically later. I do want to focus a lot on Classroom though. Your child he's got to learn how to do this stuff. It's tricky. Way too much content for us to go through in this presentation today. So, and then once they're done, they would click the turn in button and just submit that. Sorry.
So once it's submitted, they can't unsubmit it. It's turned in and it's considered, obviously the teacher can reverse that and grant them access if they ask. But once it's turned in, they no longer have access to it. Like it's always possible to get it back, but if they're at home for the night and then they submit it, and they figure, but then you could always make, and that's where what Pat just did was create another document, and if they remember what it is, if they forgot, or if they know the mistake in it, I would suggest, obviously the teacher would probably grant them access to the mistake, but if they're in a real jam, then create another document, write out what the mistake was or what they want to fix, and then submit it. Yeah, and then the teacher and the student can discuss it the next day.
So I just showed an example of making a mistake and removing it. So I just hit the X on the doc that was there that I did, and it just took it out because I never clicked turn in yet. Actually, didn't put your name yet. I don't know if he's done.
No, he's
So- okay. So there's the create and add. So if you've got an existing one, an existing thing, anything on your Google Drive, apparently you can link that, or a link to some website or some file on your local computer. So this is where it will go to the Google Cloud Drive. Link it to that. This is some file on your local computer that you want to
Yeah,
upload.
so with desktops, it doesn't go directly, if you're working from a desktop, it doesn't go directly to the drive, whereas Chromebooks, which is what the students are working from, goes directly to their drive, and which is what they're primarily working with. But with like us, if we're using desktop, I use a desktop in the classroom, I have to, and if I save something on that desktop, then I can just put that file.
So that's a good. When we were talking about cloud before, this is where it's something local on this computer. It's not on the cloud. I want to take it from this computer and put it in the cloud. I would use file for that, and I would upload it to
So
Drive.
if they save something, because I have a desktop at home,
Yep.
sometimes Smith uses it. She would then click that file, and then go find the file wherever it was, and that would turn it in there.
That would turn it in that way.
Yeah.
That's right. So if you had, like, say, like a video that she had to record or something that was an AVI or an MPEG or whatever, yeah, you would do that, and then it should be a downloadable thing. I don't know about the content size limitations or anything like that, but
I think it's pretty flexible, but I've never been told it's too big. So.
okay. So let me just double check for questions. Don't think we got anything here. I still think there should be a parent portal to make this work out, but not alter it. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you, Cheryl. Yeah. Okay. Where was I? I got lost. Okay. Too many tabs. Okay. So tabs, yeah, maybe if you don't use browsers too much, there are tabs. Okay. So what am I missing to talk about here? So I said I was going to talk about the calendar. We should probably talk about it. Okay, so talked about submitting with Drive and calendar now. So on Google Plus, I'm going to go back because I clicked on this piece of work. I'll bring you back here. So the things that show up that are due should show up here. I think if I go to October, they're due. Oh, that's due then. So use your calendar to keep track of what's due.
And if it's changing,
That'll bring you to today. But otherwise, this is weekly. Yeah, this is just the weekly view. Oh, here's a little.
Beside down here.
This one?
No, then
That one.
slide up, yeah, that, yeah, the one you just on.
2 lines. up
This?
on calendar.
This is this is your, so whenever you see this button, basically on any app, this is think of this as your home. So you can no matter where you are, if you see this button, it'll bring you back to the beginning somewhere.
Try settings at the bottom. Click on it again. Settings at the bottom.
While you're in the room.
This is flickering. I think it's too hot in here. All right.
I think it also does show up when you go, if you're using Google Calendar, like if you. I do believe so.
So let's say we're gonna go to.
Oh yeah, that was the other thing, Pat. Sorry, get it. I don't think many parents are familiar. The kids have nicknamed it the waffle,
I love it.
where you can access all those apps he's talking about. So you just, whenever you sign in or your child signs in, that little waffle looking thing is, you can access
Super useful.
Docs, Classroom, Drive, Gmail, instead of always Googling it into your address bar or looking it up in the address bar.
Yes.
So then the calendar and that little waffle thing is not the same as the calendar in the
Could be integrated.
It's not the same, but I think it does sync. Like
So open up the calendar.
Is up on top.
Did I miss it?
Yeah.
Wow. Open up your eyes.
Middle one, right.
Ah! Thank you. Together we can. There, now you can probably see a good view of stuff, and there's your assignment that's due. Great. I don't go in here. Who's hosting this? All right. So yes, I love the waffle. The waffle's great, and there are a ton more apps that are in here that you can explore to your leisure. That's how you can get to your drive. All those apps I was talking about before, they're all here. If you want to switch your accounts, they're there. Change your settings for your account, etc., etc. The summer email. There is a feature in Google Classroom where you can get a weekly email by your teacher, which will summarize the work.
It's not from
It's-
the teacher.
or it's automated
generated.
by the
Yeah,
tool.
It's automatic from Google Classroom. So when your child registers for Google Classroom, the teacher has the option of inviting the parents to get a summary email. And the email is sent out automatically. And I did speak with a parent recently who says that they're not consistent. Like when there's like they don't do it daily. I think it's weekly.
It's weekly, and you
So
can't
then
change it. Yes, that's right.
Parents may, if they're not following, might fall behind
Yeah.
with just relying on the email side. So really, it's up to the student and the parent to collaborate and,
I wouldn't count on it.
Yeah,
With the
well,
week-
no,
so-
but.
So what's the
Because
the?
there's sometimes there's things that have already passed.
That's right.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's the thing. Yeah.
So something that's useful then, if you wanted to keep track of the work for your child, is I would recommend getting the app and putting it on your phone and log in as your student. And I believe you can configure it for notifications. I haven't done it yet, so I can't attest to its performance. But I think it's. I just installed it recently, and I was gonna push some buttons before this presentation, but I could be completely lying, and I'm recording it, so. But at least you'll have it so that you can check everything that you can do on the browser. You can do with the app. So I'm gonna go back home to my class and click on the. And I'm gonna look at what else I need. So attachments. We talked about those attachments in the files. Is there any questions? Yeah. Okay. So next thing is that's it. So that was all about Google Classroom. Is there anything specific that you think I missed that I should mention? So I talked about all the various apps and how you can link them with each other.
Yeah, the only thing is that there is the option in the teacher view and of Google Classroom that you can, so when your child does submit the work, that you can assign them a grade, which is only viewable by them alone. However, I choose not to do that. Some teachers who I know in the intermediate side, a lot of them do assign the grades immediately, because that way the teachers can also, they're put into an Excel spreadsheet and it's all ready for the teacher when it's time for report cards and grading.
That's great. Here's another little thing that's useful is if your child wants to get in touch with another child but you don't have their phone number or whatever, you can email each other. So you go to the Classmates tab and got all access to your Gmail. So it should bring you to your Gmail account to, oh, you probably don't want to show everybody James' email. Opening quite a bit. Alright. So
If we logged into multiple classrooms, because I have two kids.
yes.
Can I have them both logged in at the same time?
If you had two different browsers, yes. So one on Firefox and one on Chrome, for example, then yes.
Don't have that,
You have to log in.
You have to log one out and then log in.
Okay.
And that's actually a good point to bring. A lot of the students have trouble, like you said, with YouTube. So if you're signed into your Gmail and you go to Google Classroom and they're already registered, it'll automatically put them in. And it'll automatically do that with like Google Drive, YouTube. So they have to sign out, and if you have any of those tabs open, and you're signed in, then say they open another tab to go to YouTube, it's going to go automatically into that, whoever's Gmail is signed in. You have to sign out of all of those, and my suggestion would be to just shut all the tabs and then
All the tabs you're signed out, or you have to physically sign
You
out?
have to physically sign out. Yeah, you have to
should not
click.
have to sign out of each tab, you should be able to sign out one, you're out. But the tab will still be up and it won't look like it until you relocate.
That's right.
But
So-
we discovered recently too, is a teacher had logged into the custodian's computer and used it, like with his school account, and we could not get rid of, every time we opened up Chrome, it went to her email and her password automatically, and I could not figure out how to. I ended up having to call our tech people,
Mhm.
and there's a way to clear all the browser history, but it's not obvious. Like,
There is a way to sign into Chrome specifically.
oh no, we did all.
Was that-
I could not get rid of it. I had to clear it, but like, and it was like Control Shift delete or something, and then it just popped up the window to a browser. And once we did that, even though I was logging out, I was trying to delete it all, and it came back every time. So it was interesting.
Wow.
That was a new thing that I've not experienced before.
Let me try to reset this thing.
Yeah, no, yeah, that was. But maybe you can do it for it, then that can be.
Yeah.
It's a
It might,
Google thing,
yeah,
yeah.
Word or Google.
Okay. So see, as an example, I had this tab open somewhere else. In another tab, I signed out and signed in as me, and it says, "Oh, you have to sign in again." So it's smart enough to know about the different tabs. But now I've shared this slide with Jaden, so that's an example feature that you can do. So you can have something in your Google Drive, and you can share it with, like in your. This is my personal account. I can share a slide here with someone at ocdsb.ca, and that's just clicking this button. You would type your child's email address here, and then they'll be able to access it. So if they have their own personal account, they can link them up that way. Okay. Does anybody have any other questions? I guess we could. I put a couple of words down here. Think about tips and tricks that first came to mind. So we talked about block content. So let's say you do have a personal. You allow your child to have their own personal account that isn't filtered through OCDSB. You probably want to turn on block content, which is a feature in Chrome. So it's a button you actually have to turn on. Oh, I forget where it was. This is embarrassing. Why do you remember where it is? I don't remember where it is.
I think if you go Google and then
You're right. Yes, it's your account settings.
Privacy and security, no better.
the initial Google page has like
Safe browsing.
yeah,
There it is. There it is. Safe search filters. So you would click that, and then you can lock it as well. So if your child gets clever enough to turn this off, they would have to get a password. It uses Google's built-in filter, so they try to always make sure that the stuff that you get is age appropriate.
The board here has one that automatically, if any content, inappropriate content comes up, there's a big red banner and it says block access, not allowed.
It will generally work when not opening the door.
Yeah, no, it doesn't always work, and the kids are very good at finding workarounds.
Yeah, because all it's going to do is search the result, filter the results from whatever you type in the Google search bar.
Right there.
That's right.
So it won't block the page. from
If you
coming
know
up.
exactly where that page is and you go www.don'tlookatthis.com, you're there. It's not going to filter that. No idea what was
Yeah,
going to show
I
up
was
there.
gonna say, what was that here?
The other thing is that the search algorithm is subject to modification, so sometimes it will let things through and
Yep.
sometimes it will
It's not
not.
perfect.
And there's no guarantee that it's perfect.
I wouldn't use it as a replacement for a babysitter.
And
And for teaching them which side's better will be.
Yeah.
Well,
it'll block things that
it'll
don't
block
want
a lot of
the
things
boxes
as
if you
well.
do
Like,
that.
its own, like you can type in a thing and it will stop it if it's not.
Here at
Yeah.
the school.
Yeah, here at the
Yes,
school.
because now you guys have that at your router.
That's right.
This is not at the router. This is through Google. So it's the search results given to you through Google. So they could go to Bing or they could go to Yahoo, which are other search providers, which will not have that safe search
So
filter.
you could set it up at your router to
Yes.
block some of those sites.
Yeah, but
That's a whole,
that's
If you
that's
have
a whole
router
other.
that's smart enough to do that.
yeah, that's my husband.
Yeah. And it's the best way to do it is to actually have software on the computer because the router can't catch everything. Because there's when you go to your bank, it's the HTTPS. If it's trying to be smart and looking at the content, it won't be able to read the stuff that you're sending through there. So that's the limitation of doing it at your router. So if you have software on your computer though that you can force them to use that browser and it knows exactly what's being sent before it gets to the SSL layer. So I can't attest to any of them because I watch my kids like a hawk. So.
That's really, router software for that is broken.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
It just does not work.
Yeah. So nothing can replace talking to your kids. Okay. Trust me. What else did I? Yeah, so say search. So password managers. I showed the little hack earlier today, where it's probably a good idea to use Google's autofill feature. So there's a. It's just like passwords.google.com, and you can manage all of your passwords there. And as Google tries to be smart to say, hey, this looks like the same sort of time you used using the password like this. It prevents you from having to type it again, just in case there is a keyboard logger, because you're on some computer you don't know about. But the big key is that kids, particularly my kids, tend to forget their passwords. So you need to come up with a process for them to manage their usernames and passwords. And there are 1,000,000,001 password managers out there. You could put them in passwords.google.com. I think the easiest way to put it though is in an email folder. As a folder in your email. So get them to memorize at least their email account, and if they can get into their email account, then tell them to go to their passwords folder. And then you can search it. That's the simplest way. And just email yourself whenever you got a new password and put it in your passwords folder. But if anybody else has any other cool little hacks about how to manage your passwords or the greatest app that does this, post it on the Google group after the video's up. And we'll share our common knowledge of life hacks. It's from Metcalfe Public School, yeah. Yeah.
I don't even
Yeah, it's Metcalfe Public School Council. It's I'm actually feeding this on it right
Facebook and the.
Yeah.
The stroke logger thing is a good idea.
81 members.
Stroke logger.
now. So yeah. Online learning. So I just put down a couple of sites that I let my kids watch because they have really good content. So Crash Course is really good. It has everything on it by the people who make Don't Forget to Be Awesome. And Kurzgesagt, I don't even know. They also have really good stuff. How do you say it? Yeah, who's that? And Khan Academy are all good sites for doing stuff.
Content? Like is it mainly English or like everything?
So it's
Or is it like videos?
Khan Academy is good for like directed learning, like so you got your early math in there, which is really good. So JK rate to counting from 0 to 120. So that's what it's it's videos that you listen. Yeah. Yeah. And then they ask you questions at the end and you answer them and you get questions and stuff like that. Really good. And science and engineering, math by grade, it's good. They're all here. Biology, computing is really good here. World history, also very good. Don't read this; it'll just you'll fall asleep. Um, you might learn stuff you don't want to know about. So
Is that a US site?
it's actually
Yeah, it's tailored towards the
I use it a bit. It's all right.
And what's the
That's good.
So these are YouTube
That
channels who they make 10-minute videos of the, I don't know if it's going to be blocked or not, but we'll take a look. So Crash Course is really good. Let's start with that one.
Oh, their YouTube channel?
They're YouTube
Okay,
channels,
I
yeah.
see.
So I'm logged in as this. Way. So it's just interesting.
Okay.
It's in a nutshell. Space stuff, mountains, automation, life, history's in here. Limits of humanity. Don't read this one. Yeah. And Crash Course is also really good. But if anybody has any good channels that they like to get their kids to watch, maybe post it on the group. We can all share what you let your kids watch. This one's my favorite. They got really good playlists for computer science, physics, philosophy, economics, intellectual, U.S. government, world history, biology, literature. Lots of good stuff. The science one is really good. So that's it. That was the stuff I wanted to. I think is useful. And it's recorded, so I don't ever have to do this again. So that's good. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah. Under an hour.
Thank you very much for your help and your presentation. It's been
Well, I hope somebody gets something useful.
if you can share it with me,
Sure.
or I guess I can just access it on the WhatsApp.
Are you on Facebook?
I am.
It'll be on the public.
Maybe try to access it through Google Meet.
I'll put it up on the Google,
Okay.
on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'll upload this to YouTube.
Because then that way I could send your free face next year and say, here you go.
I've set a precedent.
But I think this is the way we're going, right? Like we're done with agendas. Like agendas have
It
been.
seems, well, it seems like it, and that's just mostly because we make it seem like. Unless we're teaching the kids, I know, all my agendas from digital perspective.
Yeah.
Since I was teaching, at least 10 years probably. Just because you carry it everywhere anyway, if you're carrying your phone, or if you carry your phone or something. Especially once they're
There's no forgetting it at home. I don't know what my homework is. Yeah, back in the
Right.
Yeah.
But I was having this conversation with my daughter, Kate, the other day, where she has, some of her classes use Google Classroom too, but she still forgets that she has homework. And honestly, just isn't thinking about it, not like she's avoiding it, because she knows when she remembers at 8 o'clock on Sunday night, she still has to do it. So we've been trying to get her to set herself an alarm, say on Saturday morning or Friday night, just, do I have any homework? Because she just, and then, even though it's all there, she doesn't, if I don't remind her, then it's gone out of her head until Sunday night, and she goes, oh my God, so, which I know stresses her a lot, so it's been getting better, so she still needs something to remind her to look at this.
It'd be nice if Google Classroom did have reminders built in, like that we could just send out text messages to the parents. Because I know it's frustrating that there's no parent portal, right?
The parent portal would be really
and
useful.
It would. I'm sure they're going to be working on it.
Yeah. I really want to check to see if the app has the notifications built in. I haven't checked yet. If it does, then that's super useful, right? Like if it tells you, hey, you got something due today in your notification on your
Yeah.
phone.
Well, what's that little bell there?
All caught up.
Yeah, because, like, the phone will send,
There is a yes.
but I don't know if it will, like, and that's what the bell usually is, but that's all you know. That's just not flashing.
I just noticed this.
You should be able to.
Yeah, so on the classroom app, I can, like, there's a thing that says notifications right here. But yeah, this is all caught up.
Maybe in settings you can add an advanced reminder or like a little beep.
See if this works. Right, what are you doing?
That's a news.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
That's a news. So what did you do?
So I was able to send a post on the page for the Google Classroom as Jaden, which is kind of like, so Sarah does this normally to say, hey, you got this homework due at this time, and anybody can comment. This is kind of like a feed, right? Like anybody can anybody do this? I don't know. This might set a precedent.
I think you need to disable that.
Yeah. So still need
No,
that.
leave it up. I'm gonna check on my phone if it's an obsolete.
So it says, you know, like, so in the classroom app, under settings, it says that, like, this one just provided, and I just downloaded it a few minutes ago, and it says send email notifications, device notifications.
Oh.
Perfect. So it's going to do all that. That's what I thought too. I had to go find out Dave's password. And I didn't send it.
I lost you.
I know. I got it. I do have it. And I put it in my
Log out.
email.
So over here, right, like, I'm logged in with my OCDSP, but if I hit that, I can add another account, like, I could log in as this as my personal account.
Right.
So either.
So I can log into the two kids at once and they'll both send me.
Well, you're switching back, like, you know, how it works on an Android phone,
Yeah.
right? You're switching back and forth. And, you know, and actually you are, because if they're both on your phone, the problem is, like, if they're both on your phone, you'll get notifications from both things at the same time. The problem is that if you have an Android phone and what you're actually doing is you're logging in as yourself and then as your kids as well, so you'll be logged in 4 separate ways, so you get all your kids' notifications, you get your own notifications, and they'll all come there. It's just something you have to be careful of if you're opening up other things, to be
Yes.
able to log into their drive,
Yes.
your drive, you know, all of their Google accounts, you'll be able to, whoever you're logged into, that's the problem. That's why we don't tend to use Android tablets at school. We go with iPads, because with
Yeah,
Android
Chromebooks.
tablets, every time you log in, you've got to log out and basically reset the tablet because it remembers all the Google stuff.
Yeah.
Like every
Yeah.
account.
It's right at the OS. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's built to share everything, and it does share everything, where with iOS, once you log out, because it's a separate app, you log out. Yeah, so something to, but you could, you could be logged in as an account. But if you
Always
log into
switching.
it in Google Classroom, you also log into it you'll be logged into their Gmail, their Drive, every Google app that you log into, like you have on your phone.
Yep.
It's incredibly convenient, it's also incredibly frustrating.
I don't understand the whole stuff anyways, yeah.
They don't make it easy to switch. There's no like somebody from Saskatchewan is calling me. I don't know anyone from Saskatchewan. So yeah, they don't make it easy. Like for like in Windows, you can log out as one user and log in as somebody else, and then everything's for that person can